Hello. I'm going to record this video a little different. Instead of feeling like I need to be all dressed up and all. No. I'm in a space, I'm in a zone where I just want to share a story with you. I want to share with you body trauma, stored body trauma being released, and the correlation throughout our lives, and what happens when we look for and we find our power, and then we take that inspired action and allow ourselves to be loved and supported by the universe, but even more so by ourselves. To allow for ourselves to love and support ourselves. If you're new to my channel, my name is Rochelle Richard. I'm all over the place. I'm a Gemini. I'm a self-love empowerment coach, twin flame goddess. It's all about the self-love empowerment journey here, which we are many layered and multifaceted. So you'll get all of that. But the very core of what my message and my mission and my purpose is about is looking for and finding our power all along this, which is each our own self-love empowerment journey. And I know for many of us, that's a twin flame layer on that too. But a twin flame journey really is at its core a self-love empowerment journey on steroids. With that said, the story that I want to share with you today has to do with teeth, orthodontists, dentists, and more than that. So I started with braces, metal mouth, when I was 12, 13 years old. And by then that was when within me this space of self-loathing and really genuinely believing that I did not want to be here in this world and it was time to go. That was when all of that officially erupted out of me. About age 12, 13. And at that time, it was also the time when I was being taken to the orthodontist to start pulling teeth and putting metal all in my mouth. Basically, it was when so much of my life of just pain in my mouth started. And the majority of my life, I have experienced pain in my mouth now. With that, though, it was all correlated to feeling not good enough, unwanted, unworthy. I mean, I was my mother's mistake, according to her. And that has definitely been a lifelong unraveling for myself with those. But recently, I really fell deep, or it felt like I was just falling and falling and falling into this abyss. And I couldn't seem to get out of it. And it just kept cycling around and around. And while there's never going to be a simple one fix thing to get you from here to there, it's, again, many layered and multifaceted. But there are definitely prominent triggers and shifts that we can make that literally help the dominoes to start falling in the direction that we feel like we're really supposed to be going. And I do that just to sidebar here that you're always exactly where you're supposed to be. No matter what the journey appears to be, chaos and everything, and that you're falling into an abyss, you're always where you're supposed to be. So recently, I, again, was really falling after I had all this amazing downloads, these amazing downloads and visions of where I was going to be taking my coaching and my life and where I was going, this whole new vision of life beyond my twin flame, beyond that, about me, my journey, and my mission and my purpose. And I'm on it. But then, boom, just as happens when you are presented with this next level of expansion and growth, there has to be the major towers, that tower moment where the brick wall, the barriers that we have built that are blocking us from getting to that other side of, to live that vision that you've just received, that you've just experienced for yourself. You have to break down all the barriers that are blocking you from breaking through into that. And oh, that happened. And it was fascinating where the thing got kind of pinpointed for me to start, where I could be taking my power back. Now I have money trauma. I have all sorts of, again, all of these things that are really being amplified with the whole collective dark night of the soul. We're all in this shit together, people. And I almost threw all of my coaching, just threw it all away and said, forget it. The world doesn't want it. No, it's just all of my, right, all of my sabotage. And instead, I just said, forget it. I'm not even going to focus on it. I'm not even logging in. And I made that post saying that I most likely will, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue. I have to think about that. And it was all of these things triggered, really, again, many layered and multifaceted things are connected in your life. You're the connection here. And it was that I wasn't going to be allowed. I was hearing so many places, all of them, that I'm not allowed to tell my story about what happened in my life to me that I have endured and overcome and lived through. I can't tell my story in my words. What? And that triggered, that's literally for a survivor, someone who was a victim, right? To be re-victimized all over again. Saying you're not allowed to tell your story literally forces that person to continue to relive that story within themselves. And that's what a lot of this whole censorship guidelines is about. They're not community guidelines, they're censorship guidelines. Believe me, when you know the bigger picture, it's just all the objective about trampling free speech is what it's about. And so that's what that was. And that triggered so much. A major breakdown for me. Major. That was that tower moment trigger that's made me say, forget it. I'm not even going to focus on the business. And I literally laid on my couch, which that's where I am. I have my little pretty kitty girl right here. She's got her face covered going, Mom, stop talking. I'm napping. Kitties, right? But I just sat here, and for me, because of what I've experienced in my life, the things that help put my experiences in perspective, crime shows. Of all things, watching crime shows helped me to put my life in perspective, because a lot of that was even worse than, that's my little alarm here for a post, even worse than what I went through. So whatever it takes to help you put that mean girl, I call her, in her place and say, wait a minute, sweetheart. Okay. So, but that's what I did. I watched crime shows, and it was like I Survived was the other one. Those were the two, but there's a lot of crime occurrences, or I don't know what you call it, that they share, stories that they share in that I Survived series, whatever it was. And so for like 4 or 5 days, for the rest of the week, that's what I did. I said, I don't care anymore. Because I was caring too much. And it was looking at what I was focusing on and what was riling me up. And because I took that time to get the fuck out of my own way, instead of trying to force my business and force my efforts and force and prove myself to myself, prove myself to the universe, because of not being good enough, of just not being good enough, those days ended up, now when you're actually depressed, you don't tend to clean your house, you don't tend to do, I did, I cleaned, I ended up watching that, and I ended up cleaning my house. And literally I was standing over there doing the dishes, And it was like, and I went, oh my God, my teeth. That's what's going on. And when I say that, I mean my teeth as in the braces, the all of that stored trauma from all of those years of being 11, 12, 13, 14, and then on through high school because of the braces all those years. But this was the buildup. This was the volcanic eruption state in my life. This was the catalyst. This was the cataclysmic apocalypse in a lot of ways for me. 11, 12 years old, again, wanting to take my life, be done. And even my mother encouraging me to, like, thanks. Needless to say, she's not allowed to be in my life anymore. I digress, though. That's what it was, is I had noticed that my teeth, and when you've had braces and Invisaligns and you've gone through that, like I even had 4 teeth pulled before I ever got metal mouth when I was 11, 12 years old, 13. I had 4 teeth that they pulled out. I mean, so again, very trauma. We don't recognize the trauma that it is until it comes back to bite us in the ass later. I swear to God, we don't. But I had noticed that literally it was very recently that my bottom teeth, which they used to be very, very crowded, very stacked. And again, I was bullied and teased about this when I was in grade school and middle school. Well, they shifted. They have officially shifted out of alignment completely. And I was starting to feel that sensation in my body of my teeth floating. And this was something else that started when I was 12, 13, 14, where the nightmares that my teeth were just going to all fall out. Because when you have braces and your teeth are being shifted, you feel that, like there's a sensation that it creates. And for me, for sure, it was feeling like my teeth were just floating in my mouth, like they were no longer attached in my body, and that at any moment my teeth were all just gonna fall out. And those nightmares started with having my teeth extracted, and especially with those braces, with the braces that moved my teeth and created these feelings. And of course, all the pain. It was constant pain. I wouldn't eat because why? It hurt. But that was also when my dental practice, my dental regimen went completely out the window. Because they hurt too bad to brush, to do anything. I didn't want to do anything. And I was 12, 13. I didn't grasp the magnitude of what I was going through. I didn't. Really, quite frankly, all I knew was I hated myself and I hated my life and I didn't want to be here. But that I had to do this because my mother said so. It was what I was doing. It was whatever. Would I go through? That's a question that why ask? Would I go through it again? Why? I can't change it. But it brings me to now, because now is where my power is. And I know it took me 14 minutes to get to that, but you had to hear all of the other stuff. So to now again, the money trauma, working through that. So I'm not yet in that position to just do all of these things, because I have been sabotaging myself for a while this year with being in this space this year of again getting back to this feeling like that version of myself when I was 12, 13, 14. And all I realized that would fix how I was feeling, that would fix where I was, that would fix or at least redirect the momentum that I had built up that was going in the direction I didn't want my life to be going in, which was the self-loathing, going back to that version of me where I didn't want to be here again. I didn't. And I'm not going to lie, the remnants of that, oh yeah, because I'm just getting back to myself again in that space. You know, it's one thing to coach and guide others, and especially coaches, we can be so hard on ourselves because we're like, who am I to help someone else out of their shit when, oh my God, I feel like I'm so deep in my own. But that's what makes a good coach, is someone who goes through the shit, sees they're in the shit, and gets out of the shit. That's the shit. For real, legit. And that's why I've always shared my story. Well, at least until this year. This year has really been that, where I've just been like, I can't, But this is why I do. Because where was my power when it hit me that day? I said, all I want is to stop my teeth from moving in the wrong direction. And as all of this was coming out of me, I went, oh my God, that's why I feel like my life is going in the wrong direction. That's why I feel like I'm on the wrong path. That's why I feel like everything's wrong, in spite of all these incredible visions and downloads and things that have come to me this year amidst all of this chaos and this breaking down and this purging and this healing and all this, right? When you have stored trauma in your body and that gets released, it's going to express itself in any and every fucking way it can to make itself known. And as I realized that my teeth were going in the wrong direction, I went, oh my God. Okay. I went and I picked up the little Google Maps and I just searched orthodontist. I said, all I need, if I can just make it stop, moving. Like, I know I'm not yet ready for the whole commitment level of Invisalign, and going the whole, let's shift them back again. Not quite there, right? And it's knowing where you are and acknowledging that and letting that be okay. Remember that sidebar earlier, you are where you are and you are exactly where you're supposed to be, okay? So I said, oh my God, if I can at least just get somebody to give me a tray, because that's the term. I already knew the term for Invisalign because that came later in my life when I tell the story about the divine feminine blocking her blessings. So that's another video talking about having then had an orthodontist who was one of my escort clients when I was a prostitute. Escort's a term that's definitely more allowed, I know, on platforms and stuff. But when I was an adult escort, I had an orthodontist, but I wasn't letting myself be loved. And that's the key. But now it's like, no, I'm doing this. Like, I'm catching myself and loving myself. So I looked through the orthodontists that were within like a 5 to 8 mile radius of where I live. And I real quickly went, nope, corporate, nope, that's a small business. That's where I'm going to go. And just for those corporate ones out there, you don't get the small business people like me. I'm a small business, and I'm going to go to a small business because people, connection. I knew I had a better chance of being seen and heard. And there it was. And I'm calling him out. Curtis Orthodontics in Gilbert, Arizona. Curtis Orthodontics. Picked up the phone and I called. And of course, mind you, I'm in the midst of my breakdown. And I didn't make it 2 minutes before I started crying and explaining to her, explaining to Kelly Jo. And I start to apologize that I was upset. And she says, that's okay. That's what I'm here for. For someone who wasn't feeling like she was being heard, that meant everything in that moment. And I just explained to her as briefly as I can a little bit of my story, what's going on, and that I just need to make it stop. I just need to make it stop. And so she says that they would do the free consult. I go in and we would look at what my options were. And that, guess what? We have one opening next Monday. And I kid you not, come to find out, that was like the only opening for the week, because then after yesterday was Wednesday, it was Monday that I went in, was the opening for my consult. And yesterday I went and picked up the retainer. I'm so excited, because for the rest of this week and all next week, they're in their other office, which is a lot farther away. I mean, how it all aligned was just so beautiful. So I went in and I talked to Haley. I want to say Kaylee, but I think it's Haley. She didn't want to do a selfie. Bless her heart. But then I explained, and she was intrigued, so intrigued and fascinated by my life story and such, and explaining to her where I was, what was going on, and that I just need to stop this. I have other dental work that I need to do first before I'm worrying about the aesthetics of my teeth. I need to take care of the health of my teeth, right? And so I explained to her what I'm looking for, and this is it. She tells me my options, and what she tells me about just having a retainer, that, and we talked about what my biggest fears were. And I have like a crown. I've already had a crown fall off before, and it messed with, right? All of these things, right? And I'm like, they're all fears, and it's looking at them and seeing what about them you're afraid of and facing it head on. You have to. Well, now with these suction, they used to do the imprints, and it created a suction, and I was kind of paranoid that if they did that, it would pull out fillings or crowns. Now remember, the underlying nightmares of my teeth falling out that started when I was 12 because of all of this work. She says, oh, we don't even have to do that now. We just do a little 3D X-ray kind of thing. And I'm like, what? Then she tells me what the cost was. Easily done. She tells me, and Curtis Orthodontics, every single person that I worked with there between Monday and yesterday. Now here's the kicker. Yesterday, I went in to go pick up my retainer. It was like a 5-10 minute meeting. And I was excited. I was almost late, but I was excited nevertheless. And I get there and I go in and the assistant hands me, and she's explaining all the things I already know, because I've been there, done that. I just didn't do all I was supposed to then, because I wasn't loving myself. And she hands it to me, and she's, telling me, and I pop that puppy in, and I have a moment where literally I just went, and she's like, oh, it'll get it. And I go, oh, that's not why. She goes, okay, just a minute. And I say to her, oh my God, I literally feel like I've just been caught. Like I had been free falling. And the safety net just caught me. It is amazing what something that can seem so simple, so finite, can have such a profound impact on your mental state, your emotional state. This clear little retainer that's now on my teeth that I'm going to have to take out because I don't wear it during the day, but I wore it last night for my first night, and it's like a warm blanket out of a dryer for me. I can't explain it any other reason or any other way. It's just, it caught my teeth from falling out. I know that sounds so crazy, but it caught them from continuing to move in the wrong direction. Again, a shout out to Curtis Orthodontics for helping me catch me. And that's where my power was to be found. I can't go back and change. All that I've gone through and then all that I put myself through, we can't change that. But what we can change is where we are right now and what we do moving forward. And it literally is a moment by moment awareness that we have to be in. And I know how easy it can be to get flustered and overwhelmed and frustrated and discouraged. And when you only have a thread to hold on to, keep holding on to that thread. Because I promise you, it is strong enough to hold you until you discover that the safety net is there to catch you. Because that safety net is always there. You could say that that thread is connected to the safety net. Just reach your feet down. Just reach. And that's what I did. I reached out. I picked up the phone and I made that call. I listened to my intuition. As I said, that's the one you call. I listened to my intuition from the beginning as I said, call an orthodontist. Look at the map. Call them. And now, I truly feel like a weight, one of the many weights, has been lifted. And I feel like finally I've been turned around and am heading in the right direction, even though you've always been heading in the right direction. But I know what it is to feel like you are heading in the right direction. And all it takes is just looking for and finding where your power is in the moment, in what you're experiencing. That's when and how it becomes truly an empowerment experience, because you looked for your power in that experience and you took that shit back. You claimed it. And that's all that's ever asked of you. That's all you ever have to do in any and every moment to feel empowered in your journey, is to look for where your power is, not where it isn't. And now I want to wear my retainer forever because like, who gets excited about wearing a retainer? Me. I do. Me. Oh my God. So, I can't thank Curtis Orthodontics and Kelly Jo and Haley and the doc. I'm like totally spacing her last name. But she's posted on my Instagram. I'm tagging them at Empowerment Experiences. I'm not sure about on my Healing Twin Flames account. It's not necessarily Twin Flame related, although yeah, it is, being a self-love empowerment journey. However, it's for sure on my Empowerment Experiences Instagram, because that's all self-love empowerment. It's all about the self there. But yeah, they they helped me catch me. Thank you. Now, onward and upward. Feeling more like I'm heading in the right direction. And with that, like I do, just like you see in this story, in this video, the power is in your hands. The power to look for and find your power. Because that power, all of your power, all of it, It really, really is, and always has been inside you. Namaste.